So then I'm going to dive right into the first low-cost healing tip. And I've done about 10 tips here, and we can talk about them, but I'll just roll through them. So this is the first one that I suggest, which is kind of just a joke. We really can't leave the modern world. I mean, ultimately, if we could do that, that would solve a lot of problems, and it would put your body in a state of readiness for healing. But since we can't leave the modern world, that's not a practical thing to do. The question is, how can we be in the modern world and not be of it? How can we change things, make subtle changes in our lives so that we're, again, more in sync with the way that we were designed? So this is the real first healing tip, which is to take steps to reconnect to your natural habitat. So the idea is you basically want to check these basic fundamental lifestyle elements. And are you doing these things that are, again, central to humans and how they have lived on this planet for millions of years? Because there are foundations to health. And you can spend a lot of money on supplements or lab tests or expensive therapies, but if you don't have the fundamentals in place, it's going to make everything else downstream a little bit more difficult, and you won't see the healing results that you want to see. So first, we need to really think about how we can get in sync with the way that humans have lived. So what can we do to get aligned with what our bodies have known for millions of years? So this requires us to start thinking about some of the ways pre-modern humans have lived. They would have gotten up with the sun and then hunkered down when the sun went down. They would have eaten food seasonally and local to them, and they would have moved their bodies all day long. They wouldn't have sat in front of the computer, which is unfortunately what I do too often. But, when you're aware of it, it makes all the difference, because you will take steps to get up and move your body, or, try and stand instead of sitting, or just move that way. So if you think about people who lived like this, they would have been outside all day, and they would have been exposed to sunlight, animals, microbes, plants. So if you think that's how our bodies evolved, but we live like this now, so completely out of sync with how we were designed and how we evolved. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we've evolved. Maybe we have adapted to the modern world. I mean, there's probably some ways we could check to see if we've adapted. So I made a little checklist, some questions to see whether you've adapted to your habitat. I mean, this is kind of based on how most Americans and most people in the industrialized world live. So ask yourself these questions. Have you developed a way to make vitamin D in your skin from indoor fluorescent light? I know I haven't built that adaptation yet, but maybe you have. I don't know. What about food? Have you developed the ability to digest factory processed and produced food, even though you're missing about half the species of microbes that it would take to digest any food, let alone factory processed foods? I don't know. I mean, we've lost so many microbes in our gut. Maybe you've adapted that the microbes that are there are doing the job that the missing ones aren't. Or what about, do you have special kinds of cells or tissues or muscles or bones that don't require movement daily? Because I don't know, I think about that movie WALL-E. Was that the one where when they're driving around on those things? And I mean, maybe their bodies by then had adapted to live and function properly that way. I don't think so, but, and then, the last one I put in here is what does it take to detoxify in the modern world? 2 livers, 3 kidneys, and a lymphatic system of steel. I mean, really, we are bombarded by chemical assaults just living in the modern world. And, have you adapted to deal with that? How does your body adjusted to that? It didn't used to have to deal with that, but now it does. So if you don't have any of these adaptations, then it's likely that your body is probably experiencing problems with or associated with maladaptation. And that just means that you're not adapted to the modern world. So one way to start thinking about this is asking yourself questions like, is the way I'm eating similar to how people have eaten for thousands of years? Because the closer you get to saying yes, the closer you're going to be in alignment with, again, those natural rhythms and patterns and habits. So is the way I'm sleeping similar to how people have slept for thousands of years? Is the way I'm moving similar to how people have moved for thousands of years? And so on. So it's really just an exercise to assess where there are opportunities to reconnect with these natural rhythms and these natural ways of healing.